flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may begin for a moment of silence. Thank you. May we have roll call, please?
Yes. Dr. Powers?
Here.
Ms. Scott?
Here.
Mrs. Wise?
Here.
Mr. Irwin?
Here.
Mrs. Killian?
Here.
Mrs. Lohr?
Present.
Ms. Lauer?
Present.
Our vision and mission. Our vision is working together with our community. We inspire our students to discover their talents and rise to their greatest potential. Our mission is building on the strengths of our diverse community. We create an engaging, comprehensive educational environment that supports the growth of lifelong learners. Next, we have the consent agenda. And may I have a move approval of the consent agenda?
I'll second that.
Dr. Powers moves approval, and Mrs. Lauer seconded that. Is there any discussion? May we have roll call, please?
Dr. Powers?
Aye.
Ms. Scott? Mrs. Wise? Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian?
Aye.
Mrs. Lohr?
Aye.
Ms. Lauer?
Aye.
Next, we have our December, January accounts payable docket.
I'd like to move that we accept the accounts payable docket as presented.
Second that.
I have a motion to move the accounts payable docket by Mrs. Lohr and Mr. Irwin seconded that. Any discussion?
The finance committee did review, all of the information sent to us by the treasurer, and there were a few questions that were answered, just basic things that, clarification points and everything seem to be in order.
May we have roll call?
Dr. Powers?
Aye.
Ms. Scott? Mrs. Wise? Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian?
Aye.
Mrs. Lohr?
Aye.
Ms. Lauer?
Aye.
Next, we have donations. Superintendent Taylor.
The administration seeks approval for the following donations to Cherrytown Elementary School and Terre Haute North Vigo.
I move to approve with thanks.
Second.
There is a motion for approval of our donation by Mrs. Lauer and a second by Mr. Irwin. Is there any discussion or question? You can proceed with roll call.
Dr. Powers?
Aye.
Ms. Scott? Mrs. Wise? Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian?
Aye.
Mrs. Lohr? Ms. Lauer?
Aye.
New business, the personnel report, professional leave request by Mr. Michael Thomas.
President Killian, Superintendent Hayward, members of the Board of Trustees, administration seeks approval of the personnel and professional leave report as presented this evening.
I move approval of the personnel report as presented.
Second.
We have approval of personnel report by Mr. Irwin with a second by Mrs. Lohr. Is there any questions or discussion? Dr. Taylor?
Dr. Powers?
Aye.
Ms. Scott? Mrs. Wise? Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian?
Aye.
Mrs. Lohr?
Aye.
Ms. Lauer?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Next, we have the Aquatic Center usage agreement with Terre Haute Torpedo Swim Club. Do we have any public comment on our Aquatic Center usage agreement with the Terre Haute Torpedo? Okay, we can move forward with Dr. Mason.
Good evening, President Killian, Superintendent Hayward, members of the board. In your packet, you have an updated copy of our Aquatic Center user agreement with the Terre Haute Torpedoes. This has been reviewed and revised along with Mr. Etling. The agreement is for January 1, 2022 through December 31st, 2023. with the option to renew for 2 years thereafter. Are there any questions?
How many swim meets are they hosting now? Generally?
Quite a few. Generally, we have obviously multiple, between 4 and 5 meets for each of our high schools. We host conference meets for Indiana State University. We host the conference meet for Rose Holman's conference for swim. Torpedoes has anywhere from 2 to 5 meets a year or so.
As well as our kindergarten and first grade swimming lessons.
I was due at one point, we were only looking about 2 years, so I got it's gone up.
We have
More torpedoes.
definitely increased, yes.
Does the torpedoes group go through middle school? Is that right?
It's elementary all the way up through high school.
And they have masters.
And
They have adult.
Masters.
They have adult.
Okay.
Do you know what it costs to attend?
An event?
Yeah.
If it's one of our swim meets, should be $6, which is what it costs to enter our athletic events.
So typically for divisional meet, for torpedoes, so if it was a divisional meet, it would be, should be $5 to $8 for an event, or $25 for a weekend.
I was thinking IHSA has a set fee.
Correct.
When a club or a different group decides is there, do they have rights to our concession stand? And if they do they keep the profits, or does any of that come back to the corporation?
So that's part of the user agreement. Terre Haute Torpedoes does get a profit at the concession stand, and they have to have workers that work that event. They work with our director to decide what they're gonna sell and how that process works. So yes, we get money back from them, and they get a share.
And so, but we split that profit, it isn't solely theirs.
Correct.
Concession.
That's
And
correct.
do they set the price that they're going to sell something at?
No, that's set by us.
Okay.
I'd like to move that we accept the agreement with the Aquatic Center with the Terre Haute Torpedoes.
Second, with relief, I'm no longer the treasurer. So do we have a motion to accept the Aquatic Center user leases agreement with the Terre Haute Torpedoes by Mrs. Lord and second by Dr. Powers? Any other comments or discussion? Dr. Davis?
Dr. Powers?
Aye.
Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise? Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian?
Aye.
Ms. Lohr?
Aye.
Ms. Lauer?
Next, we have mechanical improvement for the HVAC 2022 VNS plumbing and heating by Mr. Rickon. I'm sorry. Is there any public comment on this area subject matter? Thank you. Mr. Long.
Good evening, Dr. Hayward, President Kelly, members of the board. I'm here tonight seeking approval on 4 different bid awards. First one is for HVAC. The work will be done at Fuquay, South Scott, and Otter Creek, new boiler installation. There were 3 bidders, with BNS Plumbing being the successful bidder.
I move approval of the mechanical improvements HVAC.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have motion to approve the mechanical improvements by Mr. Irwin and a second by Mrs. Lauer. Is there any other comments or discussion from the board?
I think this comment, it goes through all your projects that you'll do, so I'll just ask it once, but you always choose the lowest responsible bidder, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
And you've reviewed these with the bond steering committee?
Yes. And legal counsel.
Dr. Lewis.
Dr. Powers?
Aye.
Ms. Scott? Mrs. Wise? Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian?
Aye.
Mrs. Lohr?
Aye.
Ms. Lauer?
Next, we have paving projects for 2022, S&T Construction. Are there any public comments on this project? Mr. Long.
Paving projects for this summer will be work at Franklin, Devaney, and Deming. There were 3 bidders, with S&T Construction the lowest bidder.
Is there a motion?
I so move.
It's a combination. At Franklin, we're going to put in a new drive to change the direction of the traffic there along the trail. At Devaney, it's just repaving. And then at Deming, it'll be paving the new parking lot across the street.
And at Deming, is that because of the change from elementary school to early learning center, there's more car traffic? Is that the issue there?
Yeah, it's my understanding they went from 30 employees to 70, so that kind of stretched the parking.
Okay. Thank you.
And those projects will start at the end of the school year.
Yes, first day after school is out.
Any other comments? Dr. Fuller?
Dr. Powers? Ms. Scott? Mrs. Wise? Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian? Mrs. Lohr? Ms. Lauer?
Next, we have roofing projects for 2022 with Associated Roofing Professionals. Are there any public comments on this project? Mr. Long?
Projects for roofing will be at Deming and Terrytown. Roof painting will be at Hoosier Prairie, Deming, and Wabash. Associated Roofing Professionals was the low and only bidder.
Have we done work with Associated Roofing Professionals before?
Yes, I would say in my 14 years, probably 12 or 13 of those years.
I thought they sounded familiar.
So what are the projects at Deming and Terrytown?
At Deming and Terrytown, that would be flat roof work. And then at the other three, it's the painting of the roof structure. It's flat roof work. They're at end of life.
I move approval of the roofing projects for 2022, Associated Roofing Professionals.
Second. Thank you. We have a motion to approve by from Mr. Irwin and a second by Dr. Powers. Is there any other discussion or questions? Dr. Fuller?
Dr. Powers? Ms. Scott? Mrs. Wise? Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian? Mrs. Lohr? Ms. Lauer?
Next, we have bus purchasing for 2022, IC Collins Midwest International. Are there any public comments on this topic? Mr. Long?
There were three bidders on the bid tab sheet, Bluebird, Thomas, and International, which is IC, with Midwest International being the lowest bidder, and we will be purchasing 14 new buses.
Is there any concern for availability?
No.
I know there's supply chain issues with different
Well-
manufacturers and things, but I just want to make sure that if they're the bidder, that they're guaranteeing that we're going to have them when needed.
I see no reason to believe they won't. That's one of the reasons I'm taking it to the board in January instead of March, to give them extra time.
Thank you.
I'd like to move approval of the bus purchase as presented.
Thank you. We have an approved motion by Mrs. Lohr and a second by Ms. Scott.
I've got some questions. Do they all have the arms,
Yes.
You mean the cameras on the arms?
everything that we have on our buses now?
Yes.
And are these all the large buses or any smaller buses?
There are 8 78 passenger and 6 special needs.
Okay, thank you.
And I've been thinking that we really have pretty limited options on where we can purchase school buses.
These are the big three.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty small pool.
Yeah, they've monopolized the market.
Right.
I did think of something, are the more expensive safety arms, I know those weren't available, 3 years ago when I first came on the board and we were discussing, are those an option yet?
I'm not sure what you're speaking.
Well, after there have been children in Indiana that were killed, there are several people from the public that had asked us about that in a meeting.
Are you talking about the stop arms with the,
Yes,
bumper?
yeah, it comes completely out so that, there isn't any way that you aren't getting stopped by it.
I can get you an answer. I don't know that they're available yet, but I can get you an answer on that.
Okay.
These do not.
We do have a motion. Is there any other comment or question? Dr. Fuller?
Dr. Powers? Mrs. Wise. Aye. Mr. Irwin.
Aye.
Mrs. Killian.
Aye.
Mrs. Moore.
Aye.
Ms. Lauer.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. Next, we have the network upgrade ERate 2022 project, and are there any public comments on this subject? Mr. Dunn.
Good evening, President Gillian, Dr. Hayworth, and members of the board. I have two items to bring to you tonight. The first is just an update. And the second is asking for approval of a network upgrade. And so I wanted to update you and let you know that one of the projects that we're working on is updating the equipment for our teachers in their classrooms, the computer that they're using. We're updating those to a Chromebox. We're also putting a 4K document camera on their desktop, cleaning off some switch boxes and some ugliness there. And the project's going very well. We have completed Fayette, Fuquay, Devaney, and Davis Park. Tomorrow we'll go to Terrytown. Thursday we're headed to Lost Creek. So this project's going real well, but I thought I'd let you know that we're going through the classrooms and updating the hardware, and it's going very well. So now I'll proceed to the network upgrade. On November 11th, the VCSC published an RFP for network hardware. The request was for 400 wireless access points. This is to replace 400 of our oldest access points in the schools. The new devices provide better performance and allow more computers to connect simultaneously. The bid opening for the project was January 5th. There were 4 bidders, and Network Solutions Incorporated provided the most competitive bid in the amount of $508,000. This is an ERate project, and we'll expect $400,000 of that project reimbursed to us. The project was the bidding process was oversaw by AdTech. That's our ERate representative that helps us to make sure that we're doing the bidding process properly and filing our ERate papers. So tonight I would ask you for approval to move forward on that project.
I'd like to move approval of the network upgrade ERate 2022 project.
I'll second that.
Can I ask you, sorry, I'm allowed to go into discussion right now?
Yeah.
Can you just explain quickly for us all to hear exactly what the ERate program is, so that we just have that on the record?
Yeah, so the ERate project, or the ERate, ERate is a federal reimbursement to the schools for communications. Wireless access points fall into that category. Also, our network connectivity, connecting buildings together, falls into that category. It's based on free and reduced lunch, and Vigo County qualifies for an 80% reimbursement. And so we're very fortunate to have ERate, and that allows us to do these upgrades. So, yeah.
Thank you. I have one more question. Sorry. I would like to also kind of understand a little bit better how this integrates with the work that we do with joint and how those things complement each other or how they're different.
Okay, so what I'm talking about here tonight are access points. Like, there's surely one in this room.
Right
or
behind
somewhere.
you.
There it is. That's the piece that we're looking to upgrade here. We have 1,200 of them around the corporation. The 400 that I'm asking for upgrade here are the oldest ones. There are several versions of communication. These old devices are really Wi-Fi 3. Wi-Fi 6 is out today, so they're fairly old. They're 10 to 12 years old. And so, time to go. So we connect on them here, okay? We have wiring in each building that goes up to one central point in each building where we are connected to Joink. Okay, Joink has a network throughout the town, and they pull all of our buildings together through fiber. And so that's our relationship there. Also, Joink has our connection from the McLean building to the internet. So all of our buildings go back to McLean, okay? And then our internet connection to the outside takes off from there. So, yeah, Joink's a good partner there. They're providing great network for us. So those lines are also ERate, they qualify for ERate also. So our bill to Joink is covered 80% each month.
That's great, thank you.
We have a motion to approve by Mrs. Lord and a second by Dr. Powers. Any other discussion or questions? Dr. Gold?
Dr. Powers? Aye. Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise? Aye. Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian?
Aye.
Mrs. Lohr?
Aye.
Ms. Lauer?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Nye. Next, we have appropriation transfers for the calendar year 2021. And do we have any public comment on this subject? Mrs. Donna Wilson.
President Killian, Superintendent Hayworth, and members of the Board of School Trustees. Permission was requested and granted in December to allow us to make budgetary transfers prior to the year end for reporting purposes. These transfers were made and are included in your board packet this evening. Transfers are listed by major budget functionality as required by the DLGF. Transfers were necessary to properly align amounts budgeted in the summer of 2020 with actual expenditures realized in calendar year 2021. It's important to note corporation expenditures were all well within the overall budgets. We are merely moving budgets between accounting functions or programs within those budgets.
Move approval of the appropriation transfers for calendar year 2021.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Mr. Irwin and a second by Mrs. Lord to approve appropriation transfers for calendar year 2021. Are there any other discussion or questions?
This is a pretty standard practice, is it not, Mrs. Wilson?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And keep in mind that when we present those budgets, the whole summer before the calendar year begins. So sometimes the staffing needs change and we have to realign the expenditure, or the budgets to meet the expenditure.
Thank you.
Dr. Gold?
Dr. Powers?
Aye.
Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian?
Aye.
Mrs. Lohr?
Aye.
Ms. Lauer?
Aye.
Next, we have resolution to transfer amounts from the education fund to the operations fund. And are there any public comments on this subject? Again, Mrs. Wilson.
As authorized by statute, the school corporation is allowed to transfer up to 15% of education fund receipts to the operations fund annually. This transfer is used to reimburse the operations fund for expenses that are not allocated to student instruction and learning. For calendar year 2022, we are requesting approval to transfer up to a maximum of $1,236,000 monthly from the education fund to the operations fund.
I move to approve the resolution to transfer amounts from the education fund to the operations fund.
I'll second that.
I have a motion from Mrs. Lauer and a second from Mrs. Ward. Is there any other question or comment?
Again, pretty standard, we do this yearly, it's just a formality kind of revenue.
Yes, and we usually base that off of anticipated revenue for the coming year.
Dr. Gold?
Dr. Powers?
Aye.
Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian?
Aye.
Mrs. Lohr?
Aye.
Ms. Lauer?
Aye.
Thank you, Donna. Now we will move to comments or citizens' comments. I have 4 here. And we have to stay at 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. First, we have on 5, I pronounced your name wrong, I believe, is this Allison Rowe?
Alicia.
Alicia, I'm sorry, Alicia. And you have down here the subject of books.
Yep. I passed out a paper for you guys also with that. I'll talk about it here in a minute. Do myself a minute. Okay, sorry. All right, good evening. Superintendent and members of the board. My name's Alicia Rowe, and I am a mother of 3 children that go to school here, one in middle school, one in elementary, one in middle, and one in high school. And I'm here to talk about books, specifically the books that are in our children's school libraries. I'm going to read a few excerpts from them. And I'm going to warn you they're pretty inappropriate and might be, make you feel a little uncomfortable, but I would hope that you remember that feeling and remember that this is in our kids' school libraries. So if it makes you feel that way, think of how they feel.
Can you tell us what grade again, please?
Well, okay, so the ones that I have here, my son brought from high school. I've spent about 7 months researching this and other things and have found that books like these are in all the high schools and middle schools here. There are some in elementary, but those aren't really to this content. Those are more about race and like white privilege and transgender stuff. But I didn't have any of my kids get those or anything. So these are specifically from the high school and middle schools. All of the schools I found have them. There was only one that I couldn't find any at, but it was Meadows, so that doesn't really go figure. So I'm going to start now. Another fat woman wearing an office shirt and a tie walked up to Sling Girl. "Where's the pussy?" Office woman said as she started fluffing her girl's princess dress up and down. Sling Girl made a cooing noise. She then reached into her bag and pulled out a Swiss Army knife. She popped out the blade and, to Adam's horror, began stroking the woman's vagina with it. "There's the pussy," she said. Office woman dropped the knife back in her bag, rolled up her sleeves, and pulled out a large latex glove, which she snapped onto her hand. She took a bottle of some substance, poured it all over her glove. "Is the pussy ready?" the office woman said. "The pussy is ready. The pussy is so ready." Next thing Adam knew, office woman had inserted her entire arm up to the elbow into the woman's vagina and was thrusting it in and out. He could see droplets of liquid spraying in the air, and she thrushed, "Oh yeah, you're fucking my hand." Office woman yelled, "Keep fucking it, keep fucking it, keep fucking it." "This is boring," said Nadia. She looked around. "Let's go back up front and see if there's anyone hot out there." That's one of them.
Would you state the title of that book, please?
That book is Adam, and it's by Ariel Schrag. I was only able to find one in the schools here, and I still have it. It's not going back to the school, so I'll pay for it. Next one. "Now that you're wet, I'm going to do something I've always wanted to." He slips one finger inside of me. 2, 3, 4. Pressure becomes terrific. He works his entire hand into that narrow place, and over the flashing silver pane, I shudder orgasm. I come again and again and again, and now so does he. And then it goes to explain how this character goes to this club, and at the club they close at 10 o'clock, and if you're in the club after 10, anyone who stays is agreeing and planning to do anything with anyone. And so they participate in a foursome, which it explains in a lot of detail. It ends like this. "And now as if I've done this 100 times before, I move my mouth to taste her nipples. My partner's hand pulled me backwards to lie across the table. He kisses Lorraine, and Micah's tongue finds its sweet spot between my legs, and God orgasm, mine, hers, theirs. I think of other people that are watching, touching themselves because of this. This foursome is amazing." There's many like this. I don't know if you guys get the point. I could keep going.
I know I get the point.
Okay. So the ones in the elementary school aren't as bad, but they're still, this one was Franklin Elementary School and then the middle schools, but it's just pictures. It's a cartoon book and has 2 boys in bed making out with each other, just as a picture, but it's stuff like this. 30 seconds. Oh gosh, okay, let me hurry. That said, I'm assuming that you guys have
don't know about this, I would like, I'm gonna, for the amount of time, for the sake of time, I'm gonna assume you guys don't know about this. Last year, we have an amazing Attorney General. He wrote a bill, took it to Senate, that would block this stuff from going into our schools. The reason it comes into our schools is there's an obscenity law that has a loophole in that. Not your fault, not my fault, it happened in the 1950s by a perverted scientist pedophile.
Last time.
Can I just finish real quick? Is that okay? Okay. Last year, he put out the bill for them to vote to block this stuff from coming into our school. It was not approved. Our teachers union was against it. I have a problem with that. However, it is up for the Senate again Wednesday. They are going to be voting on it. If it passes, it will block this stuff from getting into our kids' school. I gave you guys all a paper with the emails and the phone numbers for everybody under Senate that will be voting on it. And I would appreciate it if maybe you could send them something. Otherwise, if it doesn't pass, I'll be back and I'll be probably requesting that we do an audit because this is not okay with our children. It's
Can
not.
you also make sure that we have a copy of the documents that you're reading off of, like the title?
Yeah, yeah.
Where those books are located?
I have them and the schools that they're in, but the only ones I actually had brought to my house was the ones from.
You can just email them out to the
Yeah.
superintendent and.
Oh, okay.
That would be great, thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have Clark Allen for talking about facilities referendum.
Good evening. I just wanted to take a few minutes to thank all of you for voting on the facilities referendum recently and allowing that to move forward to the ballot. I took a little bit of time on Tuesday and Wednesday last week to take petitions around to people, and I had 30 people who signed the petition, and everybody I talked to was happy and eager and excited to support this project. Half of the people that signed the petitions were retired people who don't have any children in our school district. One lady that I visited called her neighbor across the street and then sent me over to her house so that she and her husband could sign. One man that I visited sent me to two of his neighbors so that both of them could sign. So I was pleasantly surprised to find so much eagerness to get behind this project. I spoke with a member of the Vigo County Taxpayers Association. Was a little surprised that they were in favor of it, and he told me at their meeting they had 20 people that showed up, and their vote was unanimous in favor of the project. So that was encouraging as well. I think we have a number of people in our community who are really looking forward into our future 5, 10, 20 years down the road, and I feel like from talking with them that there's a sense that this project is an important part of our long-term vision for our future, and we need to not just be concerned about this month and this year, but look far down the road. I appreciate the calculator that's on the website so that each person can see how it will impact their own personal property taxes. So I went on the calculator, and for myself, my property taxes will increase less than one lunch that I buy when I go out to eat. And to me, the return on investment is much greater than that. So I just want to thank you all for being willing to put this forward for the public to vote on. And I think the ripple effect of this, if it passes, could be very beneficial for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Heidi McDonald about the facilities referendum.
Hello, I am Heidi McDonald, President of the Vigo County's Teachers Association, and I'm here to let you know that with the Vigo County Teachers Association, we are endorsing the facilities referendum as a body. Our community and our students, staff have so much pride in our schools, but now our high schools are really starting to feel the strain and the wear and tear of the years, and so they're in need of some much needed major updates. And the benefit of this referenda, of course, is that it also benefits our elementary and middle schools. There is still the ability to do maintenance, updating projects for those buildings as well. And so we as a body do endorse this, the facilities referenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Rory Daniels for the referendum.
Good evening. Last time I was here, I was asking for something in your support, and so I felt it was deserving to come back and say thank you, just as they've done. Thank you so much for pushing forward the unanimous vote for option 2. It's really going to be transformative for our community and for our businesses, and I just really see it as a source of pride and excitement. But I also want to share, as I was securing votes last week, I did have some surprise, and that surprise was around how much some people really didn't know where we were in the process, and they still were uninformed. So we have 99 days until May 3rd, until we get to ask our community to come forward and cast their vote. And I will challenge all of us, while we've made it this far with great work, we still have a lot of great work to do ahead of us, to inform people so that they're engaging people to get out that vote. But really that information piece is so important so that people understand what their choices are when they're casting that vote. So thank you very, very much. I'm looking forward to helping to inform and engage as much of our community as possible so they can go out and make the decision that's right for them. Thanks very much.
That is all I have for citizen comments that have signed up. Information from Dr. Hayworth and board members.
Yes, I have a couple pieces. You'll recall last fall, we launched a Circle of Honor. And the purpose of that is each year we would like to highlight the contributions of those who have displayed a commitment of excellence as part of being a part of the family, the VCSC family. This year, we have our first class that totals 18 inaugural inductees. We will begin releasing names each week until the 1st of April, when at that time it is our goal to have an event that recognizes collectively those achievements. So we're really looking forward to that. Think of one being dropped one a week so that we would have time to celebrate that person, and then something in April as a culminating event. Also, this is maybe just some of the thank yous. The district collected 1,481 signatures in support of placing option 2 on the ballot, representing not only a high school project, facilities project, but also a long-term facilities plan for the rest of the district. We found out this morning that the needed 500 had been signed, and now we are on to the election board to ask them to place the question on the ballot. So good week last week, and a lot of hard work by several people to get that many signatures during one of the highest surging times that we have known. I just thank them greatly.
Are there any other board comments or?
I have something to add. It hasn't been appropriate until now to recognize someone that we lost in December. I would call her a titan of the elementary classroom. Her name was Lois Johnson. She enjoyed a long career teaching at West Vigo Elementary School. She was instrumental in bringing the New York City Metropolitan Opera, creating original opera program here, where she happens to be the teaching partner of my own mother. Together, they produced 4 original offers for the school and the community to enjoy, and that program continued many years after Lois retired. She was a true and loyal friend to all who knew her, a confidant and encourager to her students. She was one of my neighbors and a dear friend to my family. She changed many lives here in this very building, and I just wanted to take a moment to honor her, recognize her life and legacy. She passed away December 7th, and will be very missed.
Thank you. She was a firecracker, as you said, brought a tremendous amount of, she opened up horizons that otherwise would not have happened to these students and to the community who were able to attend some of the performances, so. Well worth our time to honor her.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that statement just goes to show we're all here working for this thing, the greater good, and to have impact on our young learners to when they're adults in great positions. That loss is felt extremely heartfelt. Are there any committee reports from board members that you'd like to comment on? Our future meeting is Monday, February 7th, 6 p.m. here. And I would just like to say thank you for the warm welcome back. I know I missed a few. I'm just proud to work alongside these individuals, and I'm just glad to be back here in person. And with that, do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
Dr. Goldberg.
Dr. Powers? Aye. Ms. Scott? Mrs. Wise? Aye. Mr. Irwin?
Aye.
Mrs. Killian? Aye. Mrs. Lohr?
Aye.
Mrs. Lau?